Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to talk about some of the concrete changes introduced with the Apocalypse DLC patch. Not only do we get new content with the Apocalypse DLC, but many changes to the base game have also been made. Some good, some bad. Let's get into it. Obviously, we're still dealing with the performance issues that were introduced with this patch, causing a huge amount of lag on the console platforms and a considerable amount of lag and chunking on the PC platform. This has not yet been dealt with, and we don't really have an ETA from EA on when this is going to get fixed. All we can do is hope that it will be soon. Alright, let's start off with some of the weapon balance changes that have been made to the existing weapons in the game. If you're a fan of the Ribby Rolls SMG, which is more like an assault rifle in terms of its performance, it did get a bit of a nerf. It got a lot of extra side-to-side recoil, making it harder to full auto spray down your enemies at slightly further ranges. So it's still a good weapon. I've used it a bit, but not quite as good at range or in full auto as you would have expected. Now when it comes to the Automatico, it actually got a buff this patch, reducing its horizontal recoil and decreasing the first shot multiplier a bit. You might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought the Automatico was one of the most popular weapons in the game. Well, it got a huge nerf in the most recent patch prior to this one, the TTK patch, making it very inaccurate and difficult to use at slightly further ranges. Now that nerf has been reduced a little bit. So overall, the Automatico is kind of going back to closer to what it used to be, but from the TTK patch, it's still going to be at a bit of a loss compared to some of the other SMGs. One of the most changed weapons during the patch again belongs to the Assault class, and that's the SMG 08/18. The performance is supposed to be closer to the real-life counterpart, meaning the rate of fire has increased substantially, bumping it up to 770 rounds per minute. This is basically an entirely different weapon now. It used to be a very slow firing and accurate SMG, which I didn't care for. Now it's an incredibly fast firing and, well, inaccurate SMG with a lot of ammo to chew through as it did before. So this is definitely an SMG to pick back up and try out. It's going to do a lot of damage in close quarters. Could be a really fun map for running around like Amiens or something like that. But again, the accuracy at range is a bit of a challenge. Also, DICE has reduced the vertical recoil on the machine pistol a little bit, so it should be slightly more controllable this time around. So if you're a fan of that gun, it should be a little easier to use. The Cavalry class has seen quite a bit of a change this time around. I used to play the Cavalry class a lot because it was great dismounted, had a lot of health and could heal and rearm itself and other people. So it was a really fun class to play for a while. Then DICE nerfed the crap out of it, and it's been very easy to kill while mounted for a long time. Now the Cavalry class has a huge amount of health while on the horseback. Once you get off the horseback, I think you still go down to sort of normal health indicator, so you can go down pretty quickly. And this incentivizes you to basically stay on the mount and try and get as many kills while you're up there. This is, I think, overall a good balance for the class. I got to test it out a bit more, but I like the concept behind it. Also, they brought back the ability to heal and rearm yourself by throwing out ammo and health while you're on the horseback, so you don't have to dismount to get that stuff done anymore. Now, when it comes to ricochet shots against armor, tanks, if you hit them at a glancing angle, will deflect a huge amount of the damage. Before, it would deflect 90% of the damage away from the tank if you hit a ricochet shot. This was really annoying with some tanks, as I felt like the ricochets would trigger even when it wasn't a weird off-angle shot. Now DICE has tried to further balance the ricochet mechanic so that instead of 90% damage deflected, it now only deflects 50% of the shot. I still think ricochets will probably happen at the same rate as they did before, but at least you'll be doing some damage. The artillery mortar truck now shoots larger mortar rounds. I assume this means it'll probably shoot them a little bit slower, but it shoots bigger mortar rounds, so bigger explosions. I haven't tested this out, but generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of the artillery truck, as it sort of just exacerbates the general mortar syndrome in Battlefield 1 as is. DICE fixed a bug that I didn't even know existed, but now totally realize I have died to it many times, where the Tank Hunter landship, Tank Hunter airplane could destroy other planes in one shot. I don't know how this was triggered. I imagine they didn't really want to tell people how to trigger it, but I do remember on many occasions having an enemy Tank Hunter attack plane blow me up in a single shot, and then like going up against other planes and needing to hit them like 2 or 3 times to take them down, thinking like, how the heck did that guy kill me in one shot? Well, Apparently that was a bug, so if you experienced it, hopefully it's fixed now. The heavy bombers handle a bit better now, and the ability to repair them with the repair tool while in flight has been reduced. So basically the flying fortress that could stay up forever is going to get a little bit of a nerf. DICE has also buffed the fighter plane incendiary rounds so that they can basically disable and damage wings and engines at a much faster rate. I would actually like to see DICE increase the effectiveness of incendiary rounds against infantry. If the fighter plane could catch infantry on fire, that would make it have something to do when it shoots down all its enemy aircraft, because at the moment it's really kind of a useless air vehicle once all the enemy aircraft have been shot down, and incendiary rounds that catch infantry on fire would actually be kind of cool. Now, if you've been having a lot of fun on Heligoland Bight using your torpedo boats against the big destroyers and the battleship dreadnoughts, well, unfortunately the torpedoes now have a maximum effective range of 500 meters. Before you could snipe these ships from extremely far away with the torpedo boats. Now you're going to have to be at least within 500 meters of them. This should prevent torpedo boats from basically getting out of the range of these larger ships and being able to kill them without any sort of chance of being fired back at. Personally, it's hard for me to quantify the distance of 500 meters in game. Is that going to make a lot of the shots I previously took basically detonate before they get to the ship? How close am I really going to have to be? I'd have to test this out. Some people are a bit upset by it, but I need to test it out before I weigh in on that specific change. Now, something that was not mentioned in the patch notes, but a lot of players seem to be pretty upset by, is a significant nerf to the sliding mechanic. Sliding was previously nerfed in the TTK patch. Now it's been further nerfed by preventing players from looking left or right while they're sliding. So basically, sliding is trying to be turned into a mechanic that's being designed more as a defensive mechanic. If somebody's shooting at you, you can quickly slide behind cover or something like that. And no longer will you be able to run past like an opening of a door, slide, and turn and shoot your opponent. So DICE is trying to make this more of a defensive mechanic. People who used it, or rather I would say maybe even abused it offensively, can no longer use it in that manner. And although I have seen a bunch of people complain about this nerf so far, I do think it is sort of a vocal minority of Battlefield players who are upset about the sliding nerf. Personally, I just don't think sliding belongs in a Battlefield game. It always puts me off when I see somebody sliding over rubble or sliding through like a thick mud puddle or something like that in the game. It just looks unrealistic. The animation's janky, and it sort of inspires a faster paced, more arcadey gameplay, which I do know Battlefield is a bit arcadey, but I think it's too arcadey for my personal taste. This is the first Battlefield game to implement sliding, and I think it was just too easy to use offensively and sort of make the game look like you're playing the Matrix or something. So I'm personally not upset by the nerf. I think DICE should stick with their guns with the nerf here and sort of keep it as a defensive mechanic rather than an offensive mechanic, but we'll see what happens. One thing for sure after the latest DLC drop along with the patch and the new content is people seem to be overall upset. The performance issue certainly isn't making this DLC an easier pill to swallow, but people are also complaining about the fact that there's significantly less content in this DLC compared to other DLCs. Objectively speaking, there just is less content. And in addition to that, people are upset by the fact that a lot of the CTE feedback was not taken. In fact, some of the most important CTE feedback about the Conquest Assault game modes really not working on two of the maps just seem to have been completely ignored in Conquest Assault is in the maps like it was before, and they're very easy to be spawn camped and result in a lot of bad balance and a lot of bad gameplay. So it's very weird that some of the most agreed upon feedback from the CTE testing didn't seem to actually change the game upon launch at all, and it makes two of the three infantry maps, in my opinion, really poorly balanced and not a lot of fun to play. So if DICE just changed up the game mode, made a few balance changes, these maps could actually be a lot more fun than they currently are. We'll have to wait and see what DICE's changes are down the road. EA has not made any official statements about the specific map balance or anything like that. I think they're still working on resolving the performance issues. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the Apocalypse DLC if you've tried it out, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.